Hello everyone and welcome to the Bentonia Baptist Church vlog. As you're aware of, for the past couple weeks, we have been going through the 7 churches mentioned in Revelation chapter 2 and 3. We've made our way to the 3rd church, which is the church at Pergamos. So let's get right into it. We're going to start reading in Revelation chapter 2, verse 12. And write to the angel of the church in Pergamos, and write, These things says he who has the sharp two-edged sword. I know your works and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. And you hold fast to my name, and did not deny my faith, even in the days of Antipas, which was my faithful martyr, who was killed among you where Satan dwells. But I have a few things against you, because you have those there who hold to the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit sexual immorality. Thus you also have those who hold to the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come to you quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. So here we are with the church of Pergamos. And what we see off the bat is this church has got some good things going for them. We see that they have good works, and God knows that they live in a tough place. It says that, look, you dwell where Satan's throne is. Now, this could mean a lot of things. This could mean that there are those there who perhaps publicly worship the devil. It could mean there that the devil's works are manifest. You know, there's a lot of sin in their area, and there are people there, they hate Christians. They hate them to the point that they killed one of the members of the church of Pergamos, whose name was Antipas. And he was martyred for his faith. And Jesus says, look, despite all of this, I have something good to tell you. You've stood firm in the faith. You stood firm in the faith. You've stood firm in the midst of persecution, even in one of the most difficult places to stand firm. But the church has got a few problems. One of the biggest problems here is we see that this church, they hold to the doctrine of Balaam. Now, who is Balaam? Now, if you go all the way back to Numbers chapter 22 through 25 in the Old Testament, Balaam is the guy who had the donkey stop him, whose donkey spoke to him when the angel stopped him in the road. The donkey was like, hey, man, there's an angel with a sword. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to move. And what happens is Balak, who was the king of, I believe, the Moabites, did not want Israel to come into the land. So he thought he would go and get Balaam, who was like a witch, a sorcerer more or less, to put a curse on the Israelites. But Balaam would not do it because he received a vision from God, basically. But what he does do is he gives Balak the idea of seducing Israel to have sexual relations with people who are not followers of Yahweh. And what's being taught here in the church of Pergamos is there are those who are compromising by living in sexual sin. And if you read the Bible from the first book all the way through Revelation, as we're here, you see that God always speaks out against sexual sin. And the sad thing is this church at Pergamos, they had a lot going for them, but they were a compromising church because their church was full of compromising people. If we are going to be a church, if we're going to be people that really seriously please God, then we have to be a church that does not compromise in regards to the values God places on sex and sex inside of marriage. We've got to stand firm in the fact that God has ordained sex as a good thing, but it's only for marriage. Anything outside of marriage, whether it's pornography, adultery, premarital sex, anything like that, it is wrong. Homosexuality, all of that is wrong, and God, Jesus, speaks out against that here. He says, look, You're a good church, but you've got to stop this. You are compromising in this regard. And you've got to stop committing sexual immorality and worshiping idols, even if it's unintentional. And notice what's going to happen if this church refuses to repent of this. He says, repent, or else I will come to you quickly and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. Friend, God does not put up with churches who put up with sexual sin. He says he's going to come, he's going to fight against those in the church, against the church itself. Because when we as a church, when we act like homosexuality, when we act like pornography, premarital sex, adultery, when we don't deal with those issues when they arise in our church, we are giving a bad name to Christ. We're hurting the image of God when in fact we're supposed to be image bearers and bear the proper image of God to a lost and dying world. Make sure that all of us as individuals are not living in sexual sin. But if you are, notice there is hope. Jesus doesn't say that he's going to come and wipe them out immediately. He says, repent. There's your chance. Repent, it literally means to turn away, to turn the other way, to do a 180 in your life and turn away. If you'll do that today, God forgives. You've already been forgiven, but God will forgive. God will keep you where you are. God will bless your church if you will get it right. But God does not put up with churches who compromise in their worship, in their purity. It's a big deal to God. It has to be a big deal to us. So my challenge to you today is to evaluate your life and make sure that you're not a compromising Christian, because it's individuals who compromise. It's individual compromising Christians who make a compromising church. Repent. God's there with open arms waiting for you to come home.